Hey, Miss Keisha.
Hey.
So right now we have some people that actually have some therapy questions. Would you mind answering those for me?
Sure, come on in. Close the door.
Gotcha.
Let me just get this saved. And get my desk put down. All right, I'm all yours.
All right, Miss Keisha. So right now the questions that we are tackling today is general mental health awareness. So the first question that we have is, what's one common mental health misconception you wish more people understood?
That you gotta be crazy to come to therapy. That is absurd. But I think that comes from the history of how mental health was presented in the past and how people were treated. You think about our insane asylums, what they called them back then, experimental things, electric shock therapy, things. It's not that. It's not that anymore, especially with modern medicine and the way things have changed. You do not have to be what people say crazy, which is such a bad word, delusional or psychotic to come. Sometimes people just come to therapy because they're trying to learn how to communicate better with the children, with their husband. Stress at work has gotten to be a little bit much, and they would like to better understand how to cope and deal with those issues in that environment if they are not able to leave, or how to safely transition. I've had somebody recently that's dealing with being an empty nester. You know, how do I deal with the fact that I want my child to thrive and grow, but wanting to hold on to him because that's my baby? So therapy is used for a range of things. Not everybody that comes to therapy is psychotic. But if you ask me, if we lined up 10 cars outside, there's going to be at least 9.5 of them of people that have struggled with this thing called life. And there's always something you can come to therapy for.
Wow. That was an impressive answer. I love that answer so much. I loved it. Yeah. So the second question is, how can someone tell the difference between everyday stress or something more serious like anxiety or depression?
So we all struggle in some area with those things. A person that say, oh, I don't, you're lying. Let me be the first to say, look at the camera, you're lying. Because all anxiety is a form of stress. You have healthy stress and you have not so healthy stress. So if, like, for instance, you just heard that your loved one is about to go into surgery and people say, ooh, like, I feel like I'm crying, that's a level of stress. Getting ready for a flight the next day. You're not scared of flying, but you're excited about taking this flight and you can't even sleep the night before. That's a form of stress, right? Feeling a sadness or grief from a loved one passing away. That's normal, but the difference between those, and this is what brings a lot of people to therapy, is when you cross over that threshold, when it starts to impair and impact your everyday life. So although we all have these little quirks and things that we deal with, no matter how we want to label them, at some point when it starts to impede on your daily life, your sleep is compromised, your communication style is compromised, your relationships are compromised, your thought processes are compromised. You find yourself crying more than you're smiling, and just you're in distress. That's when you you need to seek a mental health professional to get the help that you need. And for all those out there that want to go to meds first, don't do it. Do a holistic measure and try that. And if it doesn't work, try talk therapy first, because there's so many different modalities like DBT, EMDR, so many different things that a qualified professional, an experienced and skilled professional can help you with. And then they can also refer you to say, okay, maybe you do need a little bit of something to help you. And even with that, a lot of times people are scared of medication if that's what we suggest. But keep in mind, and I say this to many people, if you do research with some of these meds, you've probably already taken them, because there are muscle relaxers that also help with mental health. There is a antihistamine that's prescribed to people, antihistamine that also help with anxiety. So there's a couple of things that you wouldn't even realize. You just hear mental health and you go, but some of this stuff you probably already had in your lifetime and didn't know it, because it was given to you for something completely different than what it was prescribed for at that time. So I hope that answers the question in a nutshell and then some.
Absolutely. And definitely, I love how you emphasize not jumping to medication first before actually talking to somebody so you can see if medication is even needed.
Absolutely, because sometimes it may take breathing exercises. It may take teaching you how to just sit still for a period of time and recollect yourself and move forward. Sometimes it's something like a herbal tea or a hot long bath, journaling. So many different things that can help calm and soothe the mind and spirit before immediately thinking that the red or the blue pill is going to fix it.
Yes.
And I'm not down in psychiatry now. I'm just saying do the work.
Right.
And it's nothing wrong with needing that support if and when you need it.
But not to jump to it first.
Don't let that be the be all end all, because a lot of people get fixed on these medications but they're not doing therapy. So what are we doing? We can be
You're masking. Yeah, you're masking.
Absolutely.
What are some early signs that someone might benefit from therapy?
You start to struggle in your social, economic, personal, physical, mental. I mean, all these areas of life where we either develop relationships or we're engaging in areas where we notice that our functioning is impaired. It can be someone just found out a diagnosis of some kind, not even mental health. It can be a medical diagnosis, right? Of having, let's just say, an immune deficiency disorder or something like that. You can go see a therapist then, because you it's the fear of the not knowing or things like that. I've had a woman come to therapy because she was scared of getting a what you call it, mammogram, because the history before her was the women in her family were diagnosed with cancer after getting that. We don't want her to not get this thing detected and to do her annual mammograms, but how can we help her get to the point to where she feels safe enough to do it and build her resiliency and her courage to do it? So yeah, it's just, it depends on if you're feeling impaired in your life. Again, therapy is not just for those that they feel are psychotic or criminally insane or, otherwise. It is for those who feel like, I'm having this stress level here, I'm having this impairment here, it's probably time for me to go and seek help. I love couples therapy, marriage counseling, and I usually, when my couples say, come to me before the ring. A lot of people will wait till after may be too late. So I'm going to leave that as an example of when you should come to therapy, not just for marriage, but just in life, period.
I love that. Yes. And I'm actually going to ask a bonus question for this one too, okay. Which is, what do you think is the biggest issue that we see when clients are coming in for therapy?
The lack of supportive services, the lack of knowledge, the lack of psychoeducation, the lack of case management, the lack of community, the lack of whatever it is. Sometimes you have programs and systems set in place that still contain a lot of holes. And because they contain a lot of holes, when you have providers trying to help fill those holes, they run into barriers too, or hurdles or limitations. A lot of times too, a lot of providers may not help because there's no compensation. Now, I know you shouldn't do everything for money, but you have to keep in mind this is a business. And in order to have someone to do what needs to be done, which a lot of people don't know behind the scenes, can take hours to accomplish. It's not as quick as a phone call sometimes. Sometimes it's nonstop dialing and calling all the time. The money needs to be there to help people set in place. The world is not like it is where people would just volunteer time. We have bills to pay. And I'm not just saying the providers. I'm saying even asking someone to volunteer their time to come in and do that. So there's holes in our systems. There's holes in our insurance plans. There's holes in the community as a whole. And sometimes even family systems that need to be filled to help the clients achieve their highest level of functioning. And so here at ProHealth Wellness Group, we try to do our best to help do that for them, but understanding nothing is going to be perfect, but we will put in the time and the effort to do as much as we can while that client is in services with us.
Ms. Keisha, you are such an amazing person. Thank you for coming out and answering these questions.
Definitely.
And for giving us some more insight into general mental health awareness. And we will definitely be coming back with you soon to ask you more questions.